radio audience in the borderland through the Summons broadcast heard each weekday at 5 p.m. right here on this station. On Summons, we study the Bible book by book, chapter by chapter, verse by verse, precept by precept. Please join us each weekday at 5 p.m. for Summons right here on KELP.
You are listening to KELP El Paso. Feed your mind, feed your soul at 1590 AM, 95.9 FM. Streaming worldwide at KELPradio.com.
915 Talk is a production of Desert Voice Media. You can visit desertvoice.media to learn more.
915 TALK.
The world is looking at El Paso.
What will we say to the world? From the KELP studio in El Paso, this is 915 Talk.
And now your host.
Good afternoon, beautiful citizens of the borderland, and happy Thursday. This is March 26th, year of our Lord 2026, and once again, the Lord has given us breath in our lungs and the ability to learn. We're on this educational journey as we learn to love our city, love our neighbors, and give God all the glory. And today we have Mac Daddy Del Norte on the board. Mac Daddy, how you doing this afternoon?
Hey, Andy, I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Oh, I must confess I was fearing the worst. I was fearing that you weren't going to ask me how I'm doing.
Really?
Yes.
Why so?
I don't know, but I how am I doing? You know, words fail me. This is truly an honor and a joy to have these conversations each and every weekday afternoon as we learn to love our city, love our neighbors, and give God all the glory. And today, Mac Daddy Del Norte, we have a very special guest.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know why he's special?
Definitely, because he is the unique expression of an endlessly creative God.
Ah, yes. He is the unique expression of an endlessly creative God. Also, I feel like this is a pretty big deal.
Oh, what is it?
He's a deacon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
and not just like any church.
Uh-huh.
It's a Baptist church.
Oh, okay.
And not
Okay.
just any Baptist church.
All right.
First
Keep
Baptist.
Keep going.
First Baptist Church. That's like the cream of the crop. That's, I feel like there's a scripture about being first, but we won't get into that right now. No, I have a lot of good friends over at First Baptist. What a great church. Jeremy Craker, the youth minister, is on this program pretty often. But he's in the real estate world, and you know, Mac Daddy Del Norte, I have a weakness for talking about real estate. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. In a previous life, I ran a real estate agency in the motherland.
Nice.
But here we are in El Paso today, and I love learning about a city through the prism of real estate because as we talk about all these different things each and every day, you get to learn a little bit more about the city we live in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? He's not just a realtor.
Okay.
He's
What else?
he's a real estate broker.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like the Godfather.
To real estate?
Of realtors.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I kind of picture him like in the back of like this Italian restaurant, and the realtors come in and talk about the deals, and he's like signing off. I think that's what he does.
Wow.
But he's over at Coldwell Banker Heritage Real Estate. They're here in El Paso. Also, we're going to be talking a little bit about an event coming up this Saturday, which, I'm going to say this like 10 times in the next hour. I'm going to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to learning. So without further ado, let's give a very warm Borderland welcome to the one, the only, Mr. Patrick Tuttle. Patrick, welcome back.
Thank you, Andy. Good to be here. Good to see you back there, Mac Daddy, on the board. You get to see my bald spot behind. That's the endlessly creative part, right?
There you go. That makes two of us.
Right. You're wearing a cap, though.
Yeah, true.
That's right. So, Patrick, always fun to have these real estate conversations. And today, what I'm going to say is, if folks want to call in, they have a real estate question, we'll see if they can answer it, or if you can answer it. See if we can stump the real estate broker.
Stump the broker.
Yeah, yeah. So the number, if someone wants to call in, go on air with their real estate question, the number is 915-779-0016. Again, 915-779-0016. Or you can leave a comment on the KELP Christian radio page on the video that is currently playing. So with that, let's jump into this conversation about real estate, and also let's talk for a minute about what I believe to be an aspect of faith, and that's leaving a legacy. The idea of inheritance, the idea that Proverbs says a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children.
Right. We just forget about our own children. We go right to the grandchildren, even if you don't have them.
That's what I told my kids. I said, you guys are on your own. I'm working on the grandkids.
I'm working on the grandkids.
But I think all of us kind of have a dream of leaving something for our kids. Yeah. And I know some people, we're going to talk about, of course, houses. We're going to be talking about real estate, and that's something I think both of us are passionate about. But what would you say to someone who's maybe a little bit later on in life and they don't have a lot of money in their bank account, and maybe they're experiencing some regret? What would you say to them about leaving something for their kids?
Yeah, I think the best legacy you can leave them is your reputation. You know, making sure that you're a good person, you set a good example, you follow Christ's example, you live that life that, as my good friend Paul Coleman says, you might be the only Bible somebody reads. And if you're putting it out there as a good person and you're giving a good example, that can be a great legacy for somebody to follow. It doesn't have to be material. It doesn't have to be a house. It doesn't have to be wealth, but it could be that reputation that somebody leaves behind. And that, I think that fulfills Proverbs 13:22 quite well, when you have somebody that, regardless of what their bank account says or their assets and holding or anything like that, if they're a good person, they project Christ on a daily basis. That's a great legacy to leave behind for somebody.
Yeah, I love that you start off with this idea of reputation. I'm reminded of another proverb, that a good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, and favor is better than silver or gold. It's funny. My last name is Frecka. I come from a long line of plumbers. Not to brag. But I come from a plumbing family, and it was Frecka Plumbing in the town I grew up in.
Okay.
And everyone knew that name. And it was almost like, even though it was just a plumbing company, it was like I felt some weight of responsibility for my name, because there was all these Frecka Plumbing trucks driving around town. But this idea of a good name, a reputation, to leave to our kids. It's not just about money, bank accounts.
It is not just about wealth. It could be a wealth of reputation. And there are plenty of people in the world that assets in the bank, assets under their deed name or something like that. It's nothing about that. It's just being a good person and setting a good example, following Christ's example and leaving that inheritance.
Right.
And if that's the best you can do, you know what? That's pretty darn good.
Right.
So keep it up, because we need more of that.
Right. And then on top of that, the other thing I'm thinking about is I feel like, as a father, there are certain things that you want your kids to know.
Yeah.
Like, you might have missed everything else I said, but I want you to know these things. I want you to be able to carry these on to the next generation. Is there anything that's coming to your mind that you want your kids to remember once you're gone?
Well, number one, I loved them. Regardless of what that incident was that they remembered and they've hung on to for so long. Right. But when our kids were little, we started teaching them that everybody has a lesson to teach. And you're going to learn from everyone. You're either going to learn how or how not.
Right.
And that, even if you went to the girls today and you said, hey, what'd you learn from your dad? That's going to be one of the most pivotal lessons that they learned from us because we taught that and we upheld it. Said, okay, so and so did this. Well, what'd you learn from that? Did you learn how or did you how not? So that's one of the greatest things that we taught them. Of course, the love of Christ, accepting Him as our personal Savior, so that we would have that life everlasting. But I think that one lesson of this is what you're going to learn. How or how not. You get to decide which it is for you because it's all about personal choice, but everybody's got a lesson to give.
Right. Love that. And I think, again, it is important for us to bear these things in mind, even as we're talking about, some type of material wealth, which I think the Lord can also bless us with, and we can also make efforts towards, but remembering that that's not the end all, that's not everything in life.
It's not. The Bible is full of what we would call millionaires, very wealthy people, and the list in the Old Testament is great. There's some in the New Testament as well, but Jesus Himself, probably didn't have a bank account.
Right. As a matter of fact, he had no real estate.
That's right. He didn't have any real estate. He had the whole world to his own, but he chose to live as someone who accepted the handouts, as someone who lived off of the generosity of other people.
Right. Yeah, even as Holy Week is coming up, I was spending some time reflecting on, well, this is Palm Sunday coming up, and the triumphal entry, and not only did he not have real estate, of course he didn't have a car, but he didn't have a horse.
A borrowed donkey.
Yeah, a borrowed donkey, and
the colt of a donkey, wasn't even a full grown one.
Exactly. And I've had the opportunity in my life while traveling around the world to see a couple folks riding a donkey. It doesn't look very pompous at all. It's almost a little bit comical. And here he is, fully confident in who he is. He knows who he is. He knows what he's here for. He knows where he's going. And so he doesn't need all those trappings of earthly power. Yeah. And what a great reminder for us. Having said all that, let's talk real estate.
Okay.
Yeah. So for those folks who have not been paying attention, there is an event coming up this Saturday. A House for Every Child. The website is ahouseforeverychild.com.
Correct.
And what I love about this is if anyone's listening at home and not behind the wheel right now, and you go to ahouseforeverychild.com, it says what this seminar is not. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme.
It is not.
Okay, so is there a get-rich-quick scheme in real estate that you would trust?
No. If there were, I would have already done it. I mean, quite frankly, but
that's hilarious.
But there are many different ways to get rich in real estate, and the ones that are the get rich quick, I think, are the ones that have the biggest risk attached to them as well. I am a very risk averse person. So I'm not that willing to step out and do something super risky. For example, I know some people that have done very, very well in the land development business, but that's very risky because your funding could show up, the jobs may not show up to where people would buy homes. Just think about all those roads that are cut in over in Horizon City, or outside, East El Paso, and that was a defunct land development. They just overdid it back in the 70s and 80s.
Right.
And there are lots of people that have those lots left over.
Right.
The people, they made a lot of money, but they also lost a lot of money, and maybe that was a get-rich-quick scheme. But ultimately, the market's going to tell you that the best way to do it is probably low and slow, because that's going to build for eternity, and you're going to provide something for others to enjoy.
Okay, so there might be a way, but you're risk averse.
I'm risk averse. Yeah.
Okay.
Before we got on the air, you asked about flipping houses.
Right.
And my wife and I have flipped one house.
Yeah.
It's not that we flipped one successfully. I mean, we were successful, but It was a lesson in patience. It was a lesson in risk. And those that buy houses and flip them, they're looking out for their bottom line the whole time, but there's risk. What if the contractor doesn't show up? What if the price for the granite doubles? What if the buyers don't like that I tore that wall down? What if the ceiling falls if I take a wall out and I didn't properly brace it? So these are things that I didn't want to risk, so I just didn't get into doing that.
Right. Yeah. I find that interesting because I would assume that as a real estate broker, you'd love it if everyone was flipping houses monthly. That would be a lot of sales. That would be great for business. But you're not encouraging folks to do that.
No, I'm not. I mean, it may be right for some folks, and that's fine. It wasn't right for me and my wife, for me and Raja, and it wasn't right for us because we had seen it go bad. We've seen people think that all they have to do is buy a house and then put some proverbial lipstick on it and then try to sell it for more, and then you find out that they overpaid for it.
Oh, wow.
They may have paid 10% below market value and they spent 20% more and they can't sell it.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I'm not a big advocate of flipping. Does it have a place in the marketplace? Absolutely. There are some people that do it very, very well, but they make their money when they buy it, not when they sell it. And I've just not been wanting to go down that path of being a house flipper to really look at it. It's just too risky for me.
Right. So slow and steady wins the race.
Many people will misspell my last name.
Okay.
Tuttle. So the lesson of the tortoise and the hare comes to mind. And if you go to my desk over on the west side, I have a ceramic turtle that I've painted. It's one of those shop things where you go in and it's the family outing. We did that one night, but it's the lesson. It's slow and steady wins the race. Right.
Okay. So I think you and I were chatting a little bit maybe a couple of weeks ago. Might have been even on air. I sometimes forget with all the conversations I have. But you were talking about when you bought your first investment house, you didn't need any money down.
Right.
Is that still possible today?
Yeah, it's still possible. Absolutely.
So what are some of the, I guess, benchmarks that someone would need to qualify to reach that point where they can have a no money down investment house?
Well, you first off have to have enough conversations with people who own their properties free and clear. They don't have to sell it and pay off a mortgage. But then going back to that Proverbs 13:22, the reputation that we talked about a little bit ago, you have to have a reputation that is worthy of saying, hey, when I sign my name, it does mean something. It's not an empty promise that I'm going to pay. And that's what we've done, is that we've been able to buy some properties just because of our name, because people trusted us and they still trust us to be able to pay the mortgage, pay it on time, not complain about it, and not try to renegotiate it. So whatever it was that I started with, that's what we paid off.
So that was through a mortgage company. It wasn't owner financed?
No, it was owner financed deals.
Okay.
Yeah, every one of them was. Well, no, there's one of the transactions that we did. The lender had taken the house back, and it's an individual, and he had some properties that he had taken back because somebody else didn't pay their mortgage, and he took the property as collateral, and he ended up selling me the property because of the trust factor. So it still can be done.
All right. And then as far as like owner finance, to me, it sounds scary. I don't know, because like even if I were to get it owner financed, I would still need to trust the seller, or right?
You do need to trust the seller.
Okay. Are there any maybe words of wisdom you would have for that situation?
Yeah, we've got a situation working through the office right now where an individual has bought a property on what's called a contract for deed.
And for those who are listening to the radio, they didn't see that you made air quotes for the word bought.
I should have put the air quotes, the quote-unquote air quotes. But a contract for deed is very different than a real estate contract.
Okay.
So this individual, we believe, has paid a significant amount of money as a down payment but didn't receive the deed or a deed of trust showing that there's a mortgage on the property.
Okay.
And the transaction may be on the up and up, but we won't know until the individual tries to sell the property and can't prove that she owns it because she didn't have a deed in her name.
Wow.
She's just got a receipt that she paid X amount of dollars to the deed owner, and she's working off of trust. So she's got to trust that the person that she, air quotes again, bought the house from will in fact transfer the deed to somebody else at the point where a sale wants to go through. That's risky.
Right. And is that just the kind of situation where two people met, they decided they felt good about it, they didn't get some real estate professionals along with them to walk alongside them? That's
Exactly.
what it sounds like.
That's exactly what happened, is that these people were friends, and we hope that they still are friends and that they are on the up and up. But it happens where somebody says, hey, I'll sell you the property, but I'm not going to transfer the deed until you pay me X amount of dollars. And after there's been X amount of dollars transferred to me, then I'll sign the deed over to you. But until that point, the deed remains in my name.
Okay.
That's risky.
Sure. Okay.
And I do not advocate that.
Okay. And so what in I'll give the little disclaimer: nothing in this program is in any way to be construed as medical advice or legal or financial.
Right. I'm not an attorney, nor do I play one on TV.
Exactly. We're just two guys talking. And then with all these kind of situations, it's important to find a licensed professional who understands the specifics of your situation.
Yeah.
But again, I think what I'm reminded of, I'm going to give a plumbing analogy. It sounds like when the guy tried to do it himself and it didn't work, trying to fix the plumbing in his house, and then he calls a plumber. In this situation, they tried to do it themselves and kind of ran into a little bit of a issue, and so they gave you a call?
Well, in this case, no. It was somebody that came to our property management division and said, hey, we own this house. We need to rent it out. And you go, all right, fine. Show me that you own the house.
Sure.
And you can't show. They can't show us that they own the house. You know, so we because we're licensed by the state of Texas and the state of New Mexico, we have to verify ownership.
Right.
So if somebody comes to me with an entity and they say, hey, I own this entity,
right,
and that entity owns this house, I've got to go, okay, great. Show me that you own the entity.
Wow.
Show me your articles of incorporation. Show me that you can sign on behalf of the entity.
Right.
Because you yourself are not the owner, the entity is. Well, this lady came to us and said, hey, I own this house. Great. Tell me your name, blah, blah, blah. Let's go check it out in the Central Appraisal District.
Wow.
Well, turns out she's not the one on the deed. Well, I paid so-and-so X amount of dollars. It's like, okay, great.
Interesting. Okay. We do have a caller. We open up the phone lines today if people have real estate questions. Minerva, can you hear me? How are you doing this afternoon?
Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes. Fire away.
Hi, I was going to comment on what you were saying about risky transactions, because I had a for sale by owner that I did a long time ago, like in 2000.
Okay.
And so finally, it was by a real estate agent, but she had become a missionary, and so I was making payments that I wasn't going to get the deed till I paid it off.
Okay.
So I paid it off like in, let's say, 6 years ago. And when I was going to go to closing, I found out that lady who was a realtor apparently had a reputation where she had sold land to multiple people, the same piece of land.
Okay.
So I go to closing and I prayed and I said, please, I hope not. And no, I did get a clean title.
Good.
I did go through a title company, but you are right. Especially back then, it was a lot of for sale by owner, and I think what you're saying is people need to look out for that, because I do remember that it was on the news where a lot of people, where you see those signs on the side of the road, 25,000, no bank needed. Everybody sees them, and a lot of people bought into that, and it turned out to be a scam, and it was on the news a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
And I think people trust. I trust a lot of people, and you get burned if you're not. You need to go through a realtor. That's what I think.
Yeah, and I think you were very fortunate that the realtor, the individual that you bought from, did the right thing and did not sell it to multiple people, which does happens. It's not just realtors that do it, by the way. There are a lot of people that you answer those bandit signs, and maybe those are legit. I'm not saying they all are not legitimate, but caveat emptor. Let the buyer beware. Check it out and make sure that you're protected on that side.
Right.
Exactly. And I think people need to. I am currently trying to sell my place, and I think that I signed the contract and everything, but I think also I should have taken more time to make sure that the person that I was hired, the realtor that I was hiring, I wish I had looked more into it. I don't know. I just think that we sometimes people are like me, and we just do things on a whim and don't think as much as we should, or we don't pray about it, and it can turn out bad. I mean, it'll be what God wants, right? Because I'm going through a realtor, but I think we should not be irrational and just jump into things without, counsel or funny.
Right.
I was enjoying the show.
Yeah, I love that comment, Minerva. Patrick, what would be maybe a thought or two about what to look into when you're hiring a realtor?
I think experience is the number one thing that you want to look for. And that's unfortunate for those that just started, but they need to have the experience of their broker behind them. You want to make sure that, I've been doing this a quarter of a century now. That's the scary part. My anniversary is next Wednesday, April 1st, 2001. That's 25 years of licensing. And over that period of time, I've been fortunate to help somewhere around 1,900 home buyers and sellers. And we do property management. So we've got a lot of experience. And I had people above me before I became the broker of the company. And anybody that works for you, Minerva, you should be able to say, okay, number one, do I trust this individual? And if that person is a newer licensee, do they have the backup from their broker? Because that's one of the things that we as brokers are supposed to provide for our agents is guidance, is training, is the opportunity to ask questions so that we can support you, the consumer. That's why we have licenses.
Right. Minerva, thank you so much for your call. I really appreciate it.
Have a great day.
Yeah, you as well. Bye-bye. If you're just joining us, we're with Patrick Tuttle. He is a broker. He was just talking about the broker, and he's with Heritage Coldwell. Is it Coldwell or Caldwell?
Coldwell Banker.
I keep on saying Caldwell.
Most people do, don't.
Oh, okay.
So it's okay. Remember, you just have to call me, and it doesn't matter what you call me. Just call me.
That's funny. So Coldwell Banker, Heritage here in El Paso. He's a broker. Again, we have the phone lines open today if anyone has any real estate questions, or like Minerva, just a real estate comment. I think that is a good word of caution that she just mentioned, talking about her experience. And I'll say this is, I think there's an extra layer of trust within the church, but we still need to verify. We still need to do our paperwork. So appreciate that comment from Minerva.
Yeah.
It sounded like all good people in the transaction, but it got a little dicey there for a minute.
It sounded like she had some reason to be concerned, and it worked out okay for her.
Right.
Yet there are plenty of other people that it didn't work out for, and that's the reason why we licensees have to go through the continual training and education to make sure that we're upholding the needs of the public.
Right.
Ultimately, I'm a protector of the public.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And if anyone wants to call in, 915-779-0016. The only stipulation is that it must be real estate related. We're talking real estate today. So any real estate questions or comments, 915-779-0016. And Patrick, you mentioned with Minerva this idea that maybe you have a brand new realtor, they're brand new in all this, but if they have an experienced broker, someone who's backing them up and making sure that they've done all their due diligence, then it should be okay?
It should be. I mean, I started out 25 years ago, and I had experienced brokers over me, and I learned a lot from them. And over the years, some of them I learned how, others I learned
How not?
how not. So it's just a matter of getting that experience, but sticking in the game, because for a quarter of a century now, I've been doing real estate here in El Paso, and we've been blessed to help a lot of people. And we're thankful that we're able to do it. But a brand new realtor, great. I was there once. I stuck to it. I got to it. Had great brokers over me to begin with, and they taught me the right thing to do, which was take care of the consumer.
Excellent. Okay, and again, we're with Patrick Tuttle. He's with Coldwell Banker Heritage here in El Paso. Have a seminar coming up this weekend, which we'll talk more about here.
To those tight traffic right now, I-10 East and Lee Trevino, but that's because they take away that right lane. That's been going on all day. It's supposed to wrap up right now, but it has not. So I-10 East and Lee Trevino, you're going to experience that slow-moving traffic, almost bumper to bumper, but certainly tapping on the brakes right there. Another place where you're tapping on the brakes, typical here, I-10 East Copia through Spaghetti Bowl area. On the east side, Pebble Hills and Gabusino, we have a crash working there. Still has PD there. Central area, Alabama and Jackson. Watch careful there. We have rocks and debris there on the roadway, Alabama and Jackson. And Andy, back to you.
Wow, debris on the road on Alabama and Jackson. That's kind of, I think I'm used to a lane being taken away on I-10, but debris on Alabama, that's a new one.
The rocks.
Right. Oh, wow. It didn't fall off the mountain, did it?
Probably a truck dropped some of that.
Oh, gotcha. Charlie One, this afternoon we have Patrick Tuttle with us. He's with Coldwell Banker Heritage Real Estate. And really what we're talking about is this idea of heritage and leaving something good for our children. And not everyone can leave a house for their children, but I think each of us could buy a bowl of, the Borderlands Breakfast of Champions for our kids. Where would you recommend that we find this little warm piece of heritage that we can leave for our children?
That's right. And for years, for decades, it's been known as the poor man's soup. The bowl of menudo, they're delicious menudo. You can find it at Eastside Choice Meats, located on Treewood, because you can go pick it up, and it's homemade menudo. You pick up the container there, put it in the refrigerator. You can have it in the morning, breakfast, or whenever you want to, but it's very delicious. You're going to enjoy it. Definitely a unique experience. If you've never tried menudo, you got to try it. Pick it up at Eastside Choice Meats, Andy.
Thank you, Charlie One. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
And we're back with Patrick Tuttle. We're talking real estate today. The phone lines are open. We heard from Minerva earlier, 915-779-0016. Your real estate comments or questions. Again, 915-779-0016. Patrick, tell us a little bit more, just the details of A House for Every Child this Saturday.
Okay, so the seminar is at 11 o'clock a.m. on Saturday morning. It's going to be at the Hilton Garden Inn. If you'd like to register, you can go to ahouseforeverychild.com and fill out the form. We'll be able to save a seat for you. If you don't have access to the internet, you can call us at 915-585-7777.
Do that again more slowly for the radio.
915-585-7777.
Okay.
And we'll get you registered that way. So we've got space available. We do have a lot of folks that have registered, including Andy Frecka.
I'm going to be there with
and your lovely wife, Rachel.
Absolutely. So this Saturday, we're going to be there at 11 a.m. at the Garden Inn, Hilton Garden Inn in El Paso. It's on 6650 Gateway. We're looking forward to it. I feel like we're not in a place right now where we can buy a investment house, but we're going to learn about it, and who knows, maybe in a day that's coming more quickly than we expect down the road.
Yeah, just to come to enjoy, because even if it's not right for someone there, they may know somebody else that it would be right for.
Sure.
And we're here to help people to say, this is what we did, and it worked for us.
Right.
And because of that, we want to share it with other people.
All right. So for our listeners, I'm going to map the perfect Saturday.
Okay.
All right. So my wife and I are going to start off our Saturday with a 4th annual Dave Frazier Memorial Run. We've been promoting that this week as well. That's going to be at Emmanuel Christian School on Saturday morning. And we're not going to run the 5K. We're just going to walk for a mile. It's $25, and it supports a good cause. The weight room at Emmanuel Christian School, because the current weight room is a shed. I don't even think there's weights in it. There's no air conditioning. I don't even know why they call it a weight room.
You go there and wait.
Right. Yeah. And there's going to be a 5K run. That's $30 to sign up. You can go to emmanuelwarriors.org. All the sign up is there. $30 for the 5K, $25 for the family walk. But it does go to a good cause. I think there are a lot of listeners who are, alumni of Emmanuel. It's a chance to go back, see the school, walk around, see everyone. Or maybe there's some folks who are considering Emmanuel for their children sometime down the road, and you can just get to know the community a little bit, way to get to know them. After our morning exercise at the Dave Frazier Memorial run at Emmanuel Christian, we're going to go over for the House for Every Child seminar. It's like the perfect Saturday. But right now we have Maxine on the phone. In just a minute, Mac Daddy Del Norte is queuing everything up. Our phone lines are open this afternoon for real estate questions, and it sounds like Maxine does have a question for us. Maxine, how you doing this afternoon? Maxine?
Yes. I have a question for the gentleman online.
Yes.
I understand he's a real estate attorney.
Broker, yes.
Oh, a broker. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I have a home, and I also have some commercial property. It's all one. It's all together. It's not separate. Okay, it's all together.
Okay.
And I have two grown kids. I do have a will, but I was wondering is there a way that I understand I can put this property in my kid's name, and I'm still in control of the property, but will it affect the taxes on the property?
Okay, so great question, Maxine. Thanks for calling in. Thanks for the compliment, calling me a gentleman. I appreciate that. The answer to your question is yes, there is a way in which you can deed the property to the kids. Now, realize I'm not a real estate attorney. I'm a real estate broker. So you're going to want to go to an attorney to help you execute this. But commonly, this would be known as what's called a ladybird deed, where you can deed it to someone else, but you remain in control of it. And if you chose to sell it at some point, you'd still be able to sell it to a third party without the kid's consent. So I recommend that you talk to a real estate attorney on what your intentions are with regard to that property and deeding it over to your children.
Okay. Now, by doing this, you avoid probate, right?
That is one way that you can avoid the probate process. Another way could be in a trust, where you create a trust. And again, you're going to want to talk to a real estate attorney about this and see if that's the right vehicle for you, because it can get complicated. And depending on the size of your estate and who you talk to from the attorney standpoint, it may be a good idea for you to do that. It may not be, but you need to get the advice of an attorney on that.
Okay. And what about the taxes? Do they go up if I do deed it over to my kids?
You're talking about the real estate taxes?
Yeah. Well, on my home, I have a homestead right now.
It shouldn't,
because I'm 84 years old.
Okay. So it shouldn't go up just because you've had a deed transfer. The only reason it would go up is because you might lose exemptions on the property if you deed it over to them. For example, it being your homestead, you would have a homestead exemption. You most likely would have an over 65 exemption, and there may be other exemptions that you qualify for as well. And if you deed it over to the kids, they may not qualify for those same exemptions, and therefore the effective tax rates would go up for you.
Okay, is this apply for people 65 years old and over?
That's the over 65 exemption, yes ma'am, for your homestead. Now for your commercial property, if that's on a separate tax ID number, it shouldn't apply to it because it doesn't have any exemptions on it. But if it's all under one parcel, you may experience an increase if you do that deed transfer and the exemptions drop off.
Did that answer your question, Maxine? Hello?
I think we lost her.
Yeah, I think we lost her. Okay. Maxine, if you're still listening, I hope that answered your question. And again, I think, Patrick, really the bottom line of what you're saying is there are options out there. You need to find an attorney. But I'm enjoying even as you're talking, I'm doing a little internet search. I'm looking at this ladybird deed. Never heard of it before. But I think that's part of the idea of going to a professional is, stuff we don't know.
Yeah. And again, I'm not an attorney, so I can't execute one of those deeds, but I could point you in the right direction if that's something that you want to do.
Right. Okay. Very cool. And I think this whole area of probate law is so important. I just have heard so many horror stories, really, since being here in Texas. I am hoping to have a probate attorney on this program in April, and I think that's a huge need for our listeners. And we're talking about inheritance today. That's just having a will, having someone who really understands, again, the specificities of your situation. You're not just filling out something online real quick that can be fraught with, I guess I'll call it landmines.
Yeah, very well could be. Legal landmines is what it might end up being.
Of course.
Because and many people have this assumption about the law. Oh, if I don't have a will, it'll go to my siblings or it'll go to my kids. Well, no, not automatically. It's always best for you to sit down with an attorney. And I recommend doing a local one, not just jumping online and going to one of those websites. I recommend that you sit down with somebody that's got some experience and you can tell them what your wishes are.
Yeah.
And then they can help you draw that out, because none of us are going to get out of this alive. I mean, that's the one promise that we know. We don't know when it's going to be, but we know we're not going to get out of this alive. But we have the opportunity to direct what happens after we pass, and the best way to do that is through a will.
Yeah, and again, I think going online is a good way to understand that I have a lot of questions that I don't know the answers to, and then going to someone, like you say, in person, here in town, someone hopefully that's been recommended and has a good reputation. But in April, we're going to be talking more about that. Okay, so houseforeverychild.com. The event is this Saturday, March 28th, year of our Lord 2026, 11 a.m., Hilton Garden Inn. Even as we're talking about this ladybird deed, I'm like, oh, there's so much to learn. I always enjoy learning new things. You had mentioned in one of our previous conversations, you're going to have a lot of, sponsors there.
We do have sponsors, yes.
So tell me about that.
So Canopy Mortgage is our platinum partner in this, a guy by the name of Danny Nassar, and he will be there. In fact, he's got part of the presentation to talk to you about some financing options that can be done for making purchases. We also have Lone Star Title, a fellow First Baptist El Paso member and deacon, John Martin, is sponsoring us.
All right.
We have Tom Silverthorne from State Farm Insurance, and we also have Ram Construction. So those are our 4 sponsors for this event, in addition to Coldwell Banker Heritage and Legacy Management Services, both of which I own.
Okay.
Along with my lovely bride.
Yes. Okay. So part of the presentation will just be hearing about some mortgage options as well. Okay, very cool.
Yeah, one of the things he's going to be talking about is something called a DSCR loan, which stands for Debt Service Coverage Ratio. And if we're able to find a property that the rent can cover the mortgage, you qualify.
Oh, interesting.
That's it. That's literally the qualification on it. If the rent on the property can cover the mortgage, you qualify.
I feel like we should have started our conversation with that. That's kind of a big deal.
I'm not in charge here. But
All right.
No, it is kind of a big deal. Danny's going to talk to us about that and some other options for financing to show how one house can pay for college, weddings, or a head start in life.
Very cool. Okay, so if you're just joining us with Patrick Tuttle, he's with Coldwell Banker Heritage Real Estate here in El Paso. We are taking phone calls if anyone has a real estate comment or question. Appreciate the calls from Maxine and Minerva. The number is 915-779-0016. We do need to take a break. So before we go into the break, this is where KELP Radio thanks our impact partners. The impact partners are local businesses, nonprofits, churches, educational institutions that have joined us in our journey to serve our community through this radio ministry. And I was thinking long and hard, which impact partner should I point out today? And I thought, probably I should point out Coldwell Banker Heritage Real Estate. Truly appreciate you guys joining us. We're happy to share and promote what you all are doing. I know a lot of your satisfied customers, and so it is good to just share what you're doing. And also, I think this seminar this Saturday is important, and it's good for us all to get out and learn. So that's a part of what we want to be as a radio station. So thank you for that. We're going to go into a break. Do not touch that dial.
We'll be right back. Don't touch that dial.
915 Talk is listener supported and is a production of Desert Voice Media. That's right. It's people just like you who make this program possible. Together with Desert Voice, you can learn how to better serve our neighbors and pray for our community. To become a Desert Voice Media partner, you can visit desertvoice.media. That's right. That's the website, desertvoice.media. Take a look and join us today in reaching our borderland for Christ.
Greetings, KELP listeners. This is Terry Gray, pastor of Calvary Chapel, Sun City, and speaker on the Summons broadcast heard each weekday at 5 p.m. right here on this station. Calvary Chapel, Sun City is located at 960 West Borderland Road on the west side of El Paso. We hold services on Wednesday evenings at 7 and on Sunday mornings at 9 and 11. If you are without a church home, we would love to have you join us for worship and Bible study. You can find out more information about us on the web at www.ccsuncity.org.
915.
Testify.
I was 10 years into a 20-year bid in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, doing 23 hours a day in a cell, solitary confinement. I was at a breaking point in life where I was just hopeless, depressed. I couldn't find no peace. It brought me to my knees in a prison cell, and I met Jesus. He delivered me from addiction, from a life of crime, the gangs, from evil, wicked ways. To the gang member that's lost, to the drug addict, Jesus loves you, and no matter what you've done in this world, in this life, the doors are open. When I met Jesus Christ, he touched my heart in a powerful way. I was once a heroin addict, a thief, an all-around bad person. My name is Daniel Chavez. I'm from Central El Paso, and I just want the world to know that if he did this for me, he could do it for anybody.
They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb
and by the word of their testimony.
Desertvoice.media.
We're back. You're listening to 915 Talk.
We are back, and you're listening to 915 Talk. Today we're with Patrick Tuttle. He's a real estate broker. I said at the beginning of the program, that's kind of like you're like in the back of this Italian restaurant, and the realtors walk in with like the latest information. You sign off or don't sign off, right?
Right. We say, one day I'm going to need a favor. No, not quite. Not an Italian. In our family, it would be a Middle Eastern restaurant.
That's right. Okay, so before we went into the break, you kind of dropped this huge piece of information, this idea that you can get a mortgage for a house if you can prove that the house will generate enough income to cover the mortgage.
Yeah. So Danny Nassar from Canopy Mortgage, he will be one of our presentation partners on Saturday, and he's going to talk about this debt service coverage ratio loan, in which if we can prove that the property has enough rental income, think multifamily, that's the easiest one to work on. Single family can work. But the biggest issue is, hey, how do I qualify for this? Well, if the debt can be covered by the rental income, you qualify. It's that simple. Now, Danny will tell you the details on it. I'm not a licensed mortgage loan officer, so I can't sell all of it, but he'd be happy to tell you about it. Come on Saturday, and he'll give you some basic information. And we have, like in your packet, you got the pre-packet today.
Yeah.
And it's got some information about
I'm the
Danny.
proud owner of a pre-packet.
The pre-packet.
For
The first pre-packet. The only pre-packet, actually. We're not giving that out to everybody. We'll give it out on Saturday. But before Saturday,
That's so great.
Andy, you are the man. You got it.
Oh, man. That's the best part of having a radio show.
The perks.
I got the first pre-packet.
That's right.
For House for Every Child seminar. And I think, but talking about this idea that, well, the rent would cover the mortgage, there's not a thought of the rent will cover the mortgage plus a huge amount of money every month. It's more you're building equity.
There's three ways that this works. Okay, so one is that you're building equity by the appreciation from the market. Number two is that you're receiving rent income and hopefully a positive cash flow on that. And number three is that if you do have a mortgage on it, your tenants are helping pay down that mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the three ways in which wealth is built through real estate.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got the market appreciation. I'll show you some stats on that on Saturday. You know, we've had roughly 150% appreciation in El Paso in the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the debt pay down, which that's fantastic. You know, we think we're going to save. Oh, I'm going to save X. I'm going to save Y. How many of us actually have the discipline to do it? Certainly there are people that do that.
Sure.
But will that keep up with inflation, and will it keep up with the hyperinflation? And I'll show some statistics about what the cost of college was in 2005 versus the projection of what it was in 2020.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
I was listening to someone recently talking about this. Should I rent or buy? And the idea that was presented was, well, if you're renting and hoping to save up all the money for the house, it's moving goalposts because the value of that house is increasing all the time.
Yeah, and the challenge with it is that as you're building, if you're purchasing, you can be paying down debt against it, so you're actually building equity every time you make that payment. But if you're renting, you're not doing that. So you have to be very disciplined in your approach. I'm going to rent at X. I'm going to put Y away in the savings account, and then I'm going to go buy something. But the American dream, as I've learned it, is real estate, owning real estate. And that's one of the greatest things about the United States. Here we are celebrating our 250th year here. And the fact that we can purchase real estate. You don't have to be an American citizen to buy real estate here. All you need is the money or the ability to get the money to buy it, and then you can do with it what you wish. Mm-hmm. You can't do that in every country around the world.
Right.
You know, so that's a big deal when we're talking about not only being here in El Paso, but Texas and the United States. You have private property rights. Mm-hmm. Now, you may have some zoning overlays or something like that say you can't do this on that property. Well, that's okay. Go find another one that fits whatever it is that you need.
Right.
But if you're renting, you know, the average net worth of a renter in the United States is about $10,000. Mm-hmm. The average net worth of a homeowner is 41 times that. Mm. I mean, it's a huge difference between the renters and the owners.
Right. Yeah. Wow. And in all these conversations that we've had, like you just kind of made this comment, hopefully you have positive cash flow.
Yeah.
But that doesn't seem to be really the most important thing in the conversation. What it sounds like to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like to me like you might even have to put a little bit of money in but after 20 years, you're going to own clear and free this really valuable piece of property.
Yeah, so the property that I'm going to show on Saturday morning as our first property, that's the one that we bought on an owner finance deal, no money down. We bought it, I think it was an 8% interest rate, and I was in negative cash flow for $150 a month. And my justification was, where can I buy a property at $75,000? That's what it was in 2005. Where can I buy a property for $150 a month?
Sure.
And that was literally my justification. And we paid that one off. We borrowed money against it to add 2 more units on it. So now it's a quadruplex, not a duplex.
Wow. And
it's worth probably somewhere in the range of about $450 now.
Wow. Okay. So for what you're promising us is if we put in $150 a month, we'll have $450,000.
So Andy did not listen to my disclaimer. There's no promise that this is going to work for you, because you know there's a lot that has to be done on that, and you know the horror stories that you hear. And
Sure.
we had a tenant over there that we literally took, I think it was 3 40-yard dumpsters worth of stuff out of that little.
Wow.
The worst part was finding the dead cat inside.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So but you got to plow through it.
Right.
And you've got to stick to, okay, this is why we're doing it. We had to project out into the future, know why we bought it, know why we stuck with it, and just when those demons come to you and say, sell, you got to sell that thing. No. I'm going to stick with it because this is how I'm going to build wealth. Right.
And it's get rich slow. It's not glamorous, but past experience doesn't guarantee future results. It does not. But everything we know is that this is a pretty sure way of moving forward.
Overall, it works out if you can buy it right when you start off. And I believe that I bought it right from a price standpoint. I certainly bought it right with a finance standpoint, because I didn't have to have any cash out of pocket in order to close on the transaction other than the closing costs. And we, at that time, we weren't wealthy. We were struggling. We're going to talk about this on Saturday. We were just starting out, 2 kids at home. And Raja's working her tail off, working for a Coca-Cola bottler here locally, selling Coke, and I'm starting out in the real estate business. I'm 4 years in when we buy this thing. So I'm not highly successful. Was I blessed? Absolutely. But what made it for us was sticking to the program, paying it off. Well, guess what? The tenants helped us pay it off.
Right.
Because for $150 a month, where could I buy a piece of property like that?
Sure. Love it. Again, we've been with Patrick Tuttle today. He's with Coldwell Banker Heritage Real Estate. The House for Every Child seminar is this Saturday at the Hilton Garden Inn at the El Paso Airport at 11 a.m. Go to ahouseforeverychild.com to register. It sounds really expensive.
For the price of your time. It's free except for the time, but you also will get fed while you're there. We will have light snacks and refreshments, and it's at 11 o'clock.
We should start with that. Comida gratis. That's super important in El Paso.
You're going to need it after that mile walk.
Patrick, thank you so much for coming in today.
My pleasure.
As we always say, let's learn to love our city, love our neighbors. I'll be at the seminar, so I hope to see you all there on Saturday, and let's give God all the glory. This has been 915 Talk. You have been listening to 915 Talk, a production of Desert Voice Media. To listen to this or any previous edition of 915 Talk, just visit desertvoice.media and click on the 915 Talk link. Let's continue to learn to love our city, love our neighbors, and give God all the glory.
Hi, I'm Johnny Erickson.